I'm Stefan Eling. I'm a master demonstration pilot for Gulfstream. I've been here about 9 years flying with Gulfstream and qualified to fly the G500, 600, and now flying the G700 as well. Prior to joining Gulfstream, I was in the U.S. Air Force. I flew for 22 years in the Air Force. About half my career I spent flying the KC-10, which is the tanker aircraft, large DC-1030 based aircraft. And then the last half of my career I spent flying Gulfstreams, the G3, G4, G5, and G550. Spend the majority of my time on the flight deck, and as you stated, the G700 is a growth beyond the G500 and the G600 symmetry flight deck. So we have some new enhancements up there. We have a predictive landing performance system. We have a new enhanced checklist. But the only physical difference that you'll see between the G500 and G600 and the G700 is we now have a second heads-up display. And in that heads-up display, we now have a synthetic vision and we have combined vision. And that combined vision system is a blending of our synthetic vision and our enhanced vision system. And the reason we are doing it now on this airplane is we have the technology and we can preserve, what we intend to do is preserve the credit that we have developed in the G500 and the G600 for our EFVS to touchdown and roll out. So essentially that allows the G500 and the G600 to use that heads-up display to land in very, very low visibility conditions. And we'll carry that right on over to the G700. The G500, G600, G700, G800, and G400, the beauty of that family of aircraft is that from the pilot's perspective, I can get on the airplane and everything looks very, very similar to me. It's completely familiar to the pilot. So once qualified on one of the airplanes, they should be able to easily make a transition to any other aircraft in that family. And each time Gulfstream develops a new airplane, so for example, from the G600 to the G700, we take all that technology that we've built and certified into the G600, and then we're just building on it into the G700, and we're adding new enhancements and new capabilities, new safety features all along the way. And so the G800 will be no different than that. There'll be new features that roll out and debut in the G800, and they will make their way back to the other airplanes as well as future updates. So the difference that you would see between the airplanes is that as you walk up, for example, the first thing that you would notice is the size of the G700. So in comparison to our G650, this airplane is about 10 feet longer overall, a wingspan that's about 3.5 feet wider. And then of course, differences that you might see between the G500 and the G600 versus the G700. Obviously, this is an ultra long range aircraft, so a 7,500 nautical mile airplane. Both aircraft, the G500, G600, and the G700 were all Mach 0.90 airplanes, so they're high-speed cruise. So we all benefit from being able to go faster and farther in the G700. To talk about the amenities and the comforts that this entire family of aircraft and the Gulfstream, entire Gulfstream fleet offer is that we do try to involve the pilots very, very early in the developmental process. So for example, in the 500 and the 600, I started out working in the early test program with the G500 and the G600, and we spent countless hours in our lab facilities going through iterations on our avionics systems. We had cockpit seats that were made for our desks, so we could sit in them for 8 hours and determine, are these actually comfortable for us? Do they feel right? So things like that. And then the other enhancements that we do benefit not just the pilots, but they benefit the customers. They benefit our passengers that are flying on the airplanes. And probably the most significant of that is our cabin altitude. So we can maintain, in this aircraft, for example, we can climb straight up to 41,000 feet at our maximum gross takeoff weight, and we can maintain a cabin altitude of about 2,900 feet. And so what that does is, if you think about the range of this airplane, you can fly for 13, 14, 15 hours. If you can keep that altitude down there low, everybody arrives refreshed and ready to go as soon as they get to where they're going. So great for the pilots, obviously a huge safety enhancement. Anytime you can, do things like that reduce fatigue issues for the pilots, but certainly it's really designed for the customer and for our passengers' comfort. Yeah, so typical trips they're sometimes hard for us to actually pin down. Each owner out there of these aircraft has different needs. So some may enjoy the size of the aircraft, and some may enjoy the range of the aircraft. So it really is up to the individual perspective. But I can say, from our perspective, what we do in Gulfstream flight operations, we try to demonstrate the maximum capability of the aircraft. So we'll fly them as far and as fast as we can around the world. We are getting ready to kick off our world tour as soon as we finish up here at NBAA. We will take the airplane home, clean it up a little bit, and we're going to hit the road. We'll visit nearly every continent around the world. We'll stretch the legs out. I anticipate we'll probably set a number of speed records while we're going there, but we'll make our way through Europe, through Asia, touch down to Australia, South America. So just about every corner you can think of, we'll be flying there.